Trying to break him. Shannon Sharpe eviscerates Browns after shock Shedeur Sanders' decision and baffling signing. The banged-up Cleveland Browns have signed another quarterback. After finishing with the joint worst record in the NFL last season, the struggling franchise has been holding a high-profile competition to decide their 2025 starter. 4 signal callers have been battling in training camp: Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. Browns signed Tyler Huntley to already crowded QB room. In recent days, all but veteran Flacco have been sidelined by injuries, and the Browns have turned back to a familiar face, Tyler Huntley. The 27-year-old was at training camp with the Browns last summer and was one of 4 quarterbacks kept on the initial 53-man roster for 2024. But he was released days after the roster cut deadline due to a lack of trade interest, and later signed with the Miami Dolphins, where he went 2-3 in 5 starts. Now, he has returned to a Browns quarterback room that looks in rough shape ahead of their preseason opener against the Carolina Panthers on Friday night and could be in line for immediate action. Pickett, a former first-round draft selection, hasn't practiced fully since injuring his hamstring on July 26th. Rookie Gabriel, who was picked in the 3rd round this year, was also limited on Monday because of hamstring tightness. Sanders, who suffered an all-time draft slide to the 5th round, was held out of team drills on Saturday because of soreness in his arm. He returned to full participation Monday, but it appears the Browns have little faith in him, as he has been buried on the roster. Shedeur Sanders listed as the Browns' 4th-string QB. According to team insider Mary Kay Cabot, Sanders is listed as the 4th-string QB on Cleveland's first unofficial depth chart of the 2025 preseason. Flacco is named as the starter, with Pickett and Gabriel behind him. The arrival of Huntley, who has a 5-9 record as a starter since arriving in the NFL 5 years ago, further suggests Shedeur could find his time limited in the coming weeks and months. While the depth chart was posted before news of his signing broke, it seems he will leapfrog Sanders and walk straight into contention for Friday's game against the Panthers. New QB Tyler Huntley will make the trip to Carolina and play in the preseason opener on Friday night, with Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett nursing hamstring injuries. Cabot wrote on Monday night. The decision to list Sanders as the 4th-string QB also caught the attention of former NFL players Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson, who described Cleveland as clueless. Sharpe and Ocho hit out at Browns' QB mess. What are the Browns doing? Sharpe questioned, as Johnson pointed to the franchise's historic struggles at QB as the reason behind the 2025 chaos. He said, "How are we supposed to trust this organization when it comes to choosing quarterbacks? They haven't figured it out all these years. All of a sudden, now they've got all the mother asterisk ing sense? The depth chart to me doesn't mean anything. We know what Joe Flacco will do when the lights come on. Kenny Pickett had his opportunity when he was drafted to the Steelers. No disrespect to him, he's not the answer. Dillon Gabriel had success at Oregon, but it's a different ballgame in the NFL, when grown men have mouths to feed." Ocho went on to suggest that by burying Sanders on the depth chart, the Browns are trying to break their young QB. "Everyone should get ample chance to win the starting position. The depth chart doesn't mean anything," he added. "What they're trying to do is break the young bull. They're trying to break him. From the draft process, the owner coming out and saying what he said to now." Sharpe agreed with his nightcap co-host and questioned how Pickett can still be the number 2 QB despite not practicing since late July. Sanders' situation in Cleveland unfair. "The worst thing that could possibly happen for the Browns happened," he said. 2 quarterbacks that you're counting on got hurt, and they got hurt early. Is Shedeur going to play? Clearly they don't feel that confident. If they thought Shedeur was going to be able to go, would they have brought a 5th quarterback in? Think about where they drafted him. Clearly, they're not putting a lot of resource behind him. They drafted Shedeur in the 5th round. If they thought that much of him, they would have drafted him higher. They would have given him a fair opportunity. But that's not what they've done. Look, that's their organization. They run it how they see fit. But people in Cleveland, I don't know how you'd still have trust in the organization. With just 3 days to go until their opener, the Browns find themselves in a mess, and quarterback chaos threatens to derail a season that hasn't even started. On the set of Nightcap Unfiltered, under the glaring studio lights, and with his signature intensity brewing just beneath his sunglasses, Shannon Sharpe leaned forward, looked straight into the camera, and delivered a thunderbolt. "This ain't development, this is sabotage. The Browns ain't just benching Shedeur Sanders. They're trying to break him. Gasps and tweets would follow. But in that moment, nobody laughed. Nobody interrupted. Even Chad Johnson, known for his brash commentary and flashy suits, went dead silent. Because the NFL world knew Sharpe had just declared war on Cleveland's front office. The decision. Just days before the Browns' second preseason game, the team made a stunning move that rocked the quarterback room. Shedeur Sanders was demoted to QB3, falling behind journeyman Dillon Gabriel, who had just been signed after being cut by the Raiders. No one saw it coming. Not the fans, not the analysts, not even players inside the locker room. Gabriel hadn't taken a single rep in orange and brown. And yet, there he was on the new depth chart, ahead of the rookie who had shown poise, flashes of brilliance, and even earned the respect of Myles Garrett and the defensive unit. The backlash was immediate. But Shannon Sharpe? He went nuclear. This is political football. They're punishing him for the name on the back of his jersey, Sharpe growled. You think if his last name wasn't Sanders, he'd be demoted for someone who ain't even unpacked his cleats yet? Sharpe pointed to Shedeur's preseason numbers, a 70% completion rate, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers, and compared them to Gabriel's NFL resume. 0 snaps, 0 success, 0 reason. Let's be real, he said. This ain't about football. This is about egos in Cleveland's front office not wanting to admit the rookie is outperforming their hand-picked veterans. He wasn't done. You know what this reminds me of? They're trying to Tim Tebow him. Too famous. Too talked about. Too tied to a bigger story. So instead of letting him ball, they want to humble him. They want to erase the prime legacy from their narrative.